Just waiting for a couple people to come on. Doesn't look like I don't see anybody yet, so we'll see if we get anyone to join. If not, I'm really only here to share a message from my guides. I don't believe I'm going to be doing any live readings today. If you're joining me now, I'm just going to say I'm not. Hi, John. How are you? I'm not going to be doing any live readings today. My energy is just not there. I'm getting a lot of downloads, and my guides wanted me to come on. I actually even canceled a show that I had for today. Hey, Marilyn, how are you? My guides just wanted me to come on to share a message. Actually, they gave it to me this morning in my meditation, and I've been dragging my feet because it's something that makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Um, and most things do, right? That stretch us. so, um, so the message that they wanted me to share is about sex. And so they even made it like a joke, right? They played me that song, Let's Talk About Sex, right? From what was that, the 90s? Like that hip hop song. And they said I should even make that the title to the show. And I just don't know. I didn't want to. I just didn't want to. But so I do know I have younger followers. So guys, if you have your children around, we're going to be talking about stuff. It's not going to be explicit. It's definitely energetic stuff, okay? It's all tied to the energetics of it. But we are going to be talking about it all in all. I will be. It's something that they wanted me to share. The amount of energy that I am channeling right now for this message is insane because they know that I'm resistant to talking about it, and so they're all here. Um, you may or may not know that when we have sex, we are doing an energetic exchange. So I'm going to say it just like this. If we're doing our work, right, to heal, to shift, to evolve, and our partner is not, or the person that we choose is not, what happens then is they then get that healing energy from you. They leave feeling amazing, and you may sometimes leave feeling like the carpet was just ripped out from underneath you, especially if you find yourself in a relationship where someone may be more, I don't like to, I don't like to categorize anyone. So I'm just going to say it like this, especially if they carry more narcissistic traits within them, right? So in my journey, I I gave myself away from the age of 17 to 18 on a level that I'm not proud of, right? And so, because I was searching for love. And so, our younger generation has this happen as well, right? It's something that if you're not feeling the love, it's going to happen. And most of you know who follow me because I share, and some of you may not, okay? But most of you know my journey. I was in an abusive marriage, but also before the age of 5, I was molested by a cousin and also an uncle. And so I didn't remember any of that until I hit my 30s. And then it all came flooding back as I started to unravel, right? And really heal when I left my ex husband. So when we are before the age of 5, okay, so let's step back. So as you can see, right, this person's going to get their healing from you, right? If you have any form of sexual contact with them. So when we're before the age of 5, we're super innocent, right? Like our innocence is stripped. That person feels better, right? And so we're left with all of that baggage. It's the same thing, okay? So then, on top of having to do your own work in this lifetime, which is what you're here to do, you're also doing the work for those who have done things like that. And so that's an aspect of things for people who have experienced that. Now, I am aware that this does not happen to everyone, but I have been asked by my guides to share this message because it is powerful right now because we are doing our healing, okay? And we're doing our healing on big levels. And so in this healing process, there's times where we may feel really vulnerable. So fast forward. Fast forward to when I left my ex-husband. For 6 months, I was reckless, and I'm not proud of it. And then I honed myself in and stood in my sacredness, right? And built myself the best I could along the way. Every time we find a partner that, if we're vulnerable and feeling like, so when you're leaving a narcissistic relationship, you may find yourself going back to the person. So I did find myself, when my daughter was 5 years old, my ex-husband's father was dying of stage 4 lung cancer. And I wanted her to know them. I didn't want them to have to suffer because of the situation that was there. And my ex-husband was in jail. So I felt safe. My ex-husband did wind up getting out of jail, and as my like women in crisis advisor advised me, like, you're opening a back door here. Don't do this. But I did it anyway. And it was true. I opened the back door. He had passed then, and there was my ex-husband. And the vulnerabilities were there. And even though the situation was as vile as it was, I tried to, because my heart tends to be almost too pure at times, right? Where you just want to see the good in people all the time and believe that every father should know his child. That's where I was coming from. So I attempted for about a month to let her see him, and she wanted nothing to do with it. And of course, he was only doing it to get close to me again, wanted nothing to do with her. We wound up, and I was doing work on myself, but probably not as much as I should have been at that time. But I was doing the work that I was called to do then. So let's just keep it there. I wound up back with him for a moment, like not together in a relationship, but we wound up having sex. And I can honestly tell you that everything, he felt great, right? He felt great. And I felt depleted on every single level. I lost everything inside me that I was working on. I went through the worst downward spiral after that moment. I did cut him off again, and my daughter and I both wanted to do that. And so that being said, energetically, that's a thing, right? So I did stay single for 8 years after I left my ex-husband. And in that 8 years, I also stayed celibate except for that one time after that 6 months. Now, I'm not coming on here saying that everyone needs to do this, or that my way is the right way or the only way. I'm coming on here so that people understand the energetics of sex, okay? Because as we heal and as we rise, you're going to not want to just give yourself away out of loneliness. You know, one night stands and all that kinds of things, like, they affect you energetically. So you could be getting really far along on your journey, and the next thing you know, you have sex because you want to have sex, and it's supposed to be something that's enjoyable, right? It's supposed to be something that we embrace and do because we're sexual, sacred beings. But we can't always, it's not always best to do that, right? So, and I'm going to say, guys, if anyone on here, I don't know, I'm not looking at the comments. So if anyone on here is looking for readings, my one really good, beautiful soul sister, Natalie Coles, I did share her live as well. She's offering readings. I'm not doing readings today. This is just a message. So let's go back to, I guess, what they want me to talk about. So then I stayed single again, and I dated one person after that for a short period of time, and there was red flags. Pay attention to your red flags. They show up right away. You will always see a red flag within 28 days of meeting someone. Okay, if they have narcissistic traits, within 28 days, they can't hide it longer than that. It comes out. Okay, so pay attention. Don't lower your standards, because then I had to deal with it again because I allowed myself to become romantically involved with this person. We even moved in together. And I have since been single again now for several years. Now, this is my choice. I don't choose to. I believe that the right person is going to be drawn, like, we're just going to be drawn. You can call me a hopeless romantic if you want, and that's fine. I'm okay with it because I embrace that aspect of who I am. But I believe that if I continue to do my work and love myself, me and my person are going to meet. I made a deal with God many years ago after I did that with my ex-husband, after I lost all that stuff inside of myself, that I did not want to let anyone else in because I was afraid of myself at that point, right? I was afraid that even though I knew everything, my yearning and my desire to have connection, physical connection with someone, was so much stronger that I devalued myself again. So, as we're healing, we need to make sure that we stand in our power, and we need to make sure that we honor ourselves as sacred beings. If you're positive that this person's a good match for you, do whatever you're going to do, right? Even if you're not positive, do whatever you're going to do. Just go at all of this knowing this is an energetic exchange, okay? This is an energetic exchange that you can't take back. Once it's done, it's done. The energy is going to be exchanged. You're going to take on all their stuff and they're going to take on all your stuff. So if you're doing the healing and they're not, guess who's going to feel like poop and who's going to feel great? Know this. I can promise you this is the case, okay? So honor yourself and your sacred essence because these things are real. I did learn after I separated myself from the ex, the most recent ex 3 years ago. I did learn about all this through my shamanic teachings with how the energy exchange works, and that's how I learned about it. Now it's something that people learn no matter if they're going through shamanic experiences or not. But like as the Kundalini was rising in me, that was the one thing that I will say that I took away from that teacher that I am super grateful that she said to me, because through that process, this person kept trying to come back to me. And so of course, that's how it works. They always want to come back in, even though he left originally. He left letting everyone think that I was abusing him because I was seeing things. I was having visions and I was confronting him, right? So when we stand in our power and we let people know that things that are happening aren't okay, they kind of disappear in like really weird, um, creepy kind of ways at times. And so, but then he kept coming back. And of course, that person in me that didn't want to be alone was always like talking to him and letting him come as a friend, right? So, what this teacher said to me when I told her this was happening, and I will never forget this. She said, Dawn, do not have sex with him. If you have sex with him, everything you're doing is going to get given to him and you're going to be left in the shit. And it was in that moment that I had the realization that that's what happened with all those years ago. So I'm here letting you know that sex is an energy exchange. It is something that is sacred, right? It is tantric. It is something that is soul deep. And in this world today, we use it as a means of filling a void. And when we are hurt at young ages, we can't decipher that if we haven't gone deep enough into our own soul work. So I'm hoping the message comes across for whoever needs to hear it. There's so much energy here. There's so much power behind what I'm sharing, and I'm just hoping that it's being received by all who need to hear it and all who need to understand that. And it's a lesson that if it's a lesson that you have to learn, just know that you can get through it, but it's going to take extra strength. It's going to take extra grounding, and it's going to take extra gentleness for yourself because you're going to understand your soul is going to hurt so bad when you're on this soul work path and you experience this. It's hard sometimes, and it's almost hard to forgive yourself, right? Because you give yourself away. And so we don't want to give ourselves away. We want to honor ourselves, we want to love ourselves, and we want to embrace ourselves. So honoring that essence within us is going to help us to be able to do that. So, as I said before, it's free will. But I was really guided to say that if we encounter others and we have weak moments, these are the energetic exchanges that can happen. And it pulls us away. Those mistakes, let's reword that, they're saying. Those lessons that I learned that were really difficult, I needed to learn those. I needed to learn them on deeper levels. So did they maybe extend my process? Maybe, but it was a lesson that I had to learn. Did it make it a little more difficult for me? Maybe it did. I feel like it did, but I feel like I needed to learn that lesson so that I can sit here and share these messages with you now, because look at what they're asking me to do. I told them I really don't want to, and they were like, I really don't care. So I was like, whatever. I mean, me and my guides were just like friends. So it's kind of like me just kind of goofing around, and it's not as serious as this message. So, but I'm super uncomfortable giving this message. So I was drawn to use, I am going to end it there. And I do hope that message makes sense. And I hope it resonates for all who need to hear it, whether it is now or in a replay. It's something that you need to think about. And if you don't choose to do that, I have no judgments. Please know that. I have no judgments. I don't care what anyone does, and the only thing I care about is if you follow your heart, right? If you follow your heart and your power center leads you to a place, then let it lead you there and embrace whatever lessons come out of it. Don't be afraid of anything, okay? And there's so much clearing for me, even coming up from the solar plexus and the sacral chakra right now by having this message and my heart. Like, it's opening me in a vulnerable way, and it's allowing me to share more of myself in a very vulnerable way, knowing that people could either judge me or whatever, and I don't care, because I'm not here for that. Like, you could judge me all you want. It's not going to change me, and it's not going to change the guidance that I get or the messages that I share. So hopefully this reaches everyone that it needs to. But I was asked by Mary Magdalene if I would give, there's stuff in here that maybe it'll come out to kind of coincide with the message that was just given. We'll see. She did kind of show me that it may. So it's just going to be a general reading for the energies going on, and maybe for the message that was just delivered. So let's just see what she has to say. And she's saying that is it. That's for me. So it's a message. There's definitely a message in this. So hopefully you can understand the message. Understanding the message for yourself is definitely going to help you step forward on your journey, is what she's saying, okay? I have been embracing the fact that I'm here to share some really powerful messages, and they make me really uncomfortable. But what she's telling me with this card is, this is a message. It's a powerful message. It's a message from the heart, and you can take it however you want to take it. It's going to illuminate you, or you're just going to shun it off, and it's okay, okay? Because if you have any confusion about this, just step back and allow yourself to kind of maybe think outside of the box, think outside of the norm. It's a deep message, and not everyone's on board with receiving things like that. But you're eternally embraced, and so sexuality is something that should be embraced with the same kind of unconditional love essence, right? So, and I don't have any judgments on how anyone chooses to live their sexual life. I mean, it's totally fine. This all is part of the ascension process, okay? And so this message is being delivered to help you through your ascension process. I feel like there's some people that this message needed to be given to that still have people involved in their lives that maybe are not the right fit. And that's the reason why they told me I needed to come on here to do this. So just be aware of that, okay? If you're doing your work and you're still not sure where this person is, like, you don't feel pressured. Okay, even if you're in a relationship and you live with this person, like, don't feel pressured to have sex. Okay, follow your guidance. Okay, any confusion is going to be eliminated if you just step back and give yourself time, okay? This is a message for the heart and the soul. This is something that is going to help your heart and your soul grow and expand on your ascension process through the eternal embrace of unconditional love, okay? So step back from any of the confusion and allow yourself to hear the message. God, I love it when they do this stuff. I have stuff over here to look at because she told me that pile that fell out is specifically mine. So we'll see. But I'm really grateful that all who are here joined me, and I'm grateful to everyone who watches, and I love you all, and I hope that this message reaches all who it needs to reach, okay? And so also what I'm hearing in this moment is allowing yourself, if this has happened to you, do some purification, okay? And so it's not that you're like tainted. What it means is that you got to purify your sexual self, your sexual centers, your sacral chakra, your sexual organs, your mouth, your body. Do salt baths, do different things to clear yourself of the energies, do cord cuttings. These energies, they get inside of us. And sometimes we get so weighed down and confused because we're picking the energies up from the other person, which is why we don't understand what's happening then. Does that make sense? So if we don't understand what's happening, then we can't like zero in on what we need to do next for us because we're feeling someone else's energy so intensely, if that makes sense. That's what this whole message is about. So being able to disconnect. And so when and that's why they said as well, because that's coming up again, um, Archangel Michael is reminding me, like, that's why this message is coming out to begin with, because like when we're younger, that's some of that shadow work. We have to go deep under that hood, right? If we're violated at a young age, we're not only working through our own stuff, our own soul contract things that we signed up for, but we're now taking on someone else's stuff. And that has affected us up until the age that, from the age it happened, right, to the age that we are when we actually start to do that inner working. So just think about how much it affected your life at that point. These are the things that they want us to think about through this ascension process. So really get deep and vulnerable with yourself, because the only way you're going to be able to continue to move forward in the progression that you're looking to do and aligning into this 5D earth and beyond, okay? Because there's so much more than just the 5D earth, but it is a beautiful manifestation phase. So if we keep opening ourselves up and understanding all of the energetic things that we ignite and we actually partake in, and how much it affects our energy body, we'll be able to understand how to navigate the ascension process. So I hope that helps, my friends. I'm sending out so much love to all of you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for saying hello, everyone who's here. I love you all. I will be back soon. I just have to continue doing this download process for myself before I can do some more, give my energy to the live readings. Okay, guys? So I love you all. If you do need private sessions, please reach out. I am still taking private sessions. It's just the larger caliber of the mass amount of people where I tap in like that on a faster pace, I'm just kind of taking a step back from. So I love you all, and I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. All right, have a good one.